broadband cable together, and we're right on time. First thing on the agenda would be the approval of the minutes. Everybody had a chance to read them, they're quite old.
Motion to approve.
I would second that.
I've had a chance to read them a dozen times.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. This time, is there anybody in the audience like to comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to the first item on the agenda. Before I go forward, the mayor called me and said there will not be anybody from IT to report on something that we had talked about several months ago about archiving minute meetings. They're going to wait for an IT director to be hired. So we can discuss that if you want to, but there won't be a report on that. So we'll just move right on into suggestions on.
How about a cable director's report?
Yeah.
So we are at 24% of budget, so we're in good shape. I don't know if you saw, Eric came in, I just hired him. He comes to us from PBS in Detroit. He's lived here for a while, but he has experience filming there.
Is it TDS?
No, PBS,
Oh, PBS.
Public Broadcasting.
PBS, okay.
In Detroit.
Okay.
TDS has moved channels. It's moved to 991, and that's, something comes up and it says that, and we've got it out to the media to let people know that that has
They have a
changed.
new box, that's the reason.
Okay,
And on the new box, they have a bunch of public channels now. Because I have the new box, I had the old box before. Now I have the new box and it's above channel 1 and it goes on, it goes 7 or 8 channels.
so they've got a block for that type of
Exactly.
content.
Mhm.
So we've moved to 991.
Okay.
I've included just a couple of pages on, I just had looked at or sent Mayor Hutto what we had covered around February and March, and then I included the most recent things that we've covered lately. And we average about 10 days of having meetings that we record. Anything?
Anything else on you?
Yeah.
Our numbers are way up. I was looking at our numbers before we had the meeting. So our viewership on social media has more than doubled. And our shares on Facebook are up 100%. The only other thing that I wanted to discuss is the scheduling of how we do the channel. So the issue that I'm running into is we have meetings come up that I don't know are gonna happen. So I add those in the schedule, and so the concept of having a 6-hour block becomes difficult when a meeting pops up. So I do need feedback on how to do the schedule, because if I do a 4-hour block, then everything repeats every 4 hours. Does that make sense? So then it looks like there's repeats. But then if I do a block of just meetings, have the meeting block, then it's 6 hours of just meetings.
So you're saying you have meetings that we schedule that you're not aware of because they're not normally, some meetings are not recurring every week, is that what you're saying?
Right, and the length of the meetings is different. So
Right.
you may have an animal control meeting that goes 30 minutes that month, and then the next month it could be an
2
hour.
hours, okay.
Or even the commission meetings, you know, you don't know, that could be an hour, it could be 3 hours. So when we do the scheduling blocks, it runs over, so it's hard to have a schedule that is 6 hours here, 6 hours here. When you plug in the meeting and you say, okay, we're gonna have the commission meeting at 5 o'clock on Monday, and then you scheduled something for 7 p.m. Well, if the commission meeting goes 3 hours,
Yeah.
then I have to redo the entire schedule, and doing the scheduling takes
Oh, yeah.
an ungodly amount of time. I spend hours and hours every week doing the schedule.
Now, if you have meetings, can you allocate a bigger block? And once the meetings are done, fill it in with something else, like some of these other items there?
we can do that, it just won't fit into the block. So at one point I discussed with Mayor Hutto, and we got feedback from a PBS station about doing it in 6-hour blocks about entertainment. So it'll just throw a kink in the entertainment block, which is fine with me, but there's just not a way that I know of to keep the blocks all one this thing. And so the schedule is kind of all over the place, and so it's hard to say, oh, well, we're gonna air this show every Monday at 5, which we can do that and then plug in shorter shows. So that's possible. It just gets into hours and hours of scheduling programming.
What would you suggest that we have each week? We have a bunch of committees, and each week you would schedule those on a recurring basis, and some actually are canceled.
Some are canceled or some are just shorter, or we may throw something into the mix like we just did. The Mayor Hutto was looking into the future series, the EMS. And so we may end up with a block that's 6 hours of meetings. And I don't think anybody wants to sit and watch
No.
6 hours
Now,
of
there are other
meetings.
activities that happen, the Expo Center and the Ag Center, a lot of things happen there. And is it possible to video those and have them fill in just as needed?
And some of these other ones are fill-in, so,
Okay.
for example, the animal cruelty segment that we just did because the dog was shot. So I did something on that, and that was about, I don't know how long it was.
Right.
It was 5 minutes, so I can put a bunch of 5-minute segments
Yeah.
together, or 10-minute shows, but if I do that, some of it may be older shows, like a Talking with Tatum, because that's the show that will fit into that slot. But it's an evergreen show, it's not dated.
Right. Yeah.
But it may have aired on the channel a lot of times before, because it's about, it's with Jackie Murphy and it's repeating information about what she does. So I think it's relevant to
Yeah.
re-air that.
Oh, yeah, because a lot of them are re-aired over the years.
Yeah,
They re-air those periodically, just because they have spaces to put them in. And they have empty spaces, you got this.
Could you do shorter, like, real elementary, like informationals to feed in like that, like maybe little 2-3 minute ones that you just had saved somewhere that you could maybe fill it up?
Like the schedule at the
Just-
Expo Center, what's gonna be on?
Just
Or
stuff
at the
that's
Ag
just,
Center,
yeah.
or,
so right now what we've got up is the billboard that has information, and it's just a graphic that says, the courthouse is open this day, contact WEMA at this number if you have something, and we do have that up. Sometimes that will run for 10 minutes
okay.
to fill in between the shows, so that's what we're doing right now, to fill in between the shows. So, I mean, I've just gotten different feedback about the scheduling, and I'm not really, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. I think the Ag Center and the Expo Center have a lot of things going on. And I know a lot of people will never get to work. That's all. And I don't know how you put it out there, billboard-like, or just run the schedule and just run it for 5 minutes and just run it over and over again. No, really, just
Yeah.
because it goes
No,
down,
that's fine.
then it starts again, then it starts again. You do that for 5 minutes, and people might look at it, oh, I want to go to that one, that's, I'm gonna wait for the next time it comes up right now.
Or you could put Gatlin's dogs on there, and somebody's gonna bitch at the time looking at the dog about it.
I've been putting Gatlin's dogs on there.
You could put, yeah, you could put the, they wanna get rid of these dogs, and when someone adopt them, and the adoption is low, and if you have pictures of some dogs, give it to her, and
So
then you can run them.
Go
You
do
can
that
say,
sad music that they have.
That's sad.
you can
So
work
sad
this, you
music.
can say these dogs are available for adoption, and have pictures of them. I like that.
And we do weekly, well, we don't do them weekly, but we try to do them weekly of the dog adoption. And
Oh, do you?
and I
Okay.
do put those up, but a lot of times that dog has been adopted, and so
See?
do I keep running that?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
do
that's
I
right.
take it
You
gotta
down?
cut
Well,
that
you
or
run
somebody
it,
gets
you
mad.
run it and let them call, and he'll just say, I'm sorry,
That
Just
one's gone.
left.
Commissioner Bree, she has
Yeah,
comments.
we upsell, we know how to
Yeah,
upsell.
I mean, really, but you have, but then you could say, you could call them and say, do you have any new ones? And do you have anybody adopted? And you could adjust that, because all the time you're getting new pets that have been adopted, cats as well.
Oh,
So
they-
I don't know what the rules are for you to be able to use other people's content, but for example, I know we're about to walk into a reappraisal year. So, the comptroller's office actually has some great little videos about, you know, this is what a reappraisal is, and I mean.
Oh,
they're-
yeah, that's
they're-
a
So
great
they've
one.
already filmed those?
Oh, yeah, and they're on, they're YouTube videos and they're really short, I mean,
Okay.
2-3 minutes, that kind of thing, so I don't know if you're allowed to
Yeah.
pull information
Oh, yeah, I
like that,
think
but I
that-
mean, but that would be something you know, that would be interactive, it would be a content that would be important, especially, you know, as I said, we're walking into reappraisal this year.
And
So
and
you
another one, to piggyback on that, is some of the older people, they get breaks on their property tax.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know what it is, and they're asking me all the time where I
Yeah.
live.
And
Yeah,
that should
Call
be
and
out there.
ask.
Yeah, and that should be out there too, so.
So, and see, they don't understand that there's an income limit, and I don't know what it is, 36,000 or something like that. But if you make over that much, you don't get any break, and a lot of people think they'll get a break because they're 85. And I said, but you're me, and you don't get a break.
A lot,
No, really, a lot of them have a lot of money.
a lot of things have changed about scheduling, because you remember when we started this thing, it was a county commission meeting, education meeting.
Yeah, we didn't have much on
3
it.
meetings, now, every meeting, and some meetings, like this one, we have called off a lot of.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have a lot more meetings some month, everyone calls a meeting, she doesn't, she can't though.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so it's lopsided, sometimes we have a dozen meetings a month, sometimes we have 7,
One
8.
month we had, before budget, I think we had 16 days of meetings, so every
Exactly.
time we have
Exactly.
16 days,
Yeah.
that takes up my part-time person. And so some months, we're not gonna have as much local content, and like, I'm at my limit with my hours and local content, so at this point, I can't produce more content. I can change the content that I'm producing, but I can't do any more than what we're doing, so my solution is for it to be okay to run some of the old talking potatoes or.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's always
Okay.
appropriate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, don't.
Well, I've gotten some slack
Don't
about
put me
that,
on
so.
it. Don't put me on, they won't even recognize me.
Okay,
Well, you know,
And you
and
could also go to the schools.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
so I do run some of the other meetings, not all of them that we do, but the school board meetings, and when I can, I will pull content from the schools and
Art.
re-air that. A lot of that is dated for the channel.
Well, not only that, but you can do the school, like sports schedules and stuff. Because that, people wanna know that stuff. They wanna
Yeah.
know, you know, they like football and all that, but they wanna know when the ladies are playing volleyball. I mean, really,
Okay.
Yeah, you could do like,
they wanna know
what
that.
Clark High
What you
School
burn,
sports
yeah,
happening
you
this
get a
week,
run
Mount
for
Joe
budget.
High School sports are happening this
Yeah.
week. So,
Yeah,
just do
and
like
there's a lot of
billboard.
sports happening too,
Okay.
not
yeah.
just football.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, I have a friend, her granddaughter plays volleyball, she must play 3 times a week. I mean, really, they play all the time.
well, how many are moving into Wilson County a week now? How many new residents?
You have that figure?
281 people a month.
81 a month?
281
281.
281 people on average.
so 70 people a week.
70 a week are
So,
coming in,
yes.
and they don't know where to get their tags, they don't know. where-
Yeah, so they're watching this program, they wanna know what's going on.
Okay, and
Also-
we've done quite a few
also-
shows on that, but they're re-airing.
Also, on how do you get, another thing is passports, license plates, driver's license.
I've got that.
It's
going to do
confusing
that.
for people,
Mhm.
especially passports. You have to have a reservation now to do it. You have to have an appointment. And a lot of people don't know where to go, they don't know how to get an appointment, things like it. Those are the kind of things people really need to
Yeah,
know.
we were planning on doing that because I've had a couple people come by our office wondering if we're the place to get passports.
And also driver's license and plates, they're not always the same place.
And I just filmed a thing on the specialty plates.
Okay,
That's gonna be coming up.
and the special ed place for the, what's the nonprofit that takes people around, Wilson Rides?
Wilson
Rides.
Rides, yeah, so we interviewed the
And,
person
and
with
you
Wilson
can,
Rides.
anybody can buy those, and they need to sell a number of them in order to,
Yeah, That'll
Get
be,
'em.
I've got that there next week. I just
And
haven't been-
anytime they change the schedule down there at the dump sites.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And the-
amazing how many people go to
Yeah.
those things and wanna know when the
Also, the
hours
veterans
change.
office over here,
Right. I think they
people,
changed it.
people come over there all the time. I went over there yesterday, it was closed at 4. I thought, why is it closed?
They knew you were coming.
And not only that, but the museum's not open either, if they're not open. And we always, when we got this museum, we're gonna have it on the weekends. Nobody's there on the weekends, it's closed on the weekends. And I think we need volunteers to open it on the weekends, I do.
So you're saying that you're not able to do new content right now? Is that
I'm
what you're
able
saying?
to do new content, so
Okay.
like this is the new content that I did in September. So the
Okay.
Looking into the Future series was about an hour long.
Mhm.
That was the mayor's. We did the economic impact of valuing workers with the NAACP.
Okay.
And that was over an hour. And then Mayor Hutto had asked me to do some segments or mini shows on the opioid settlement series.
Mhm.
So I talked to the sheriff about the body scanner that they were gonna buy, and just to look at what they got with the money from last year, how it's helped all the departments. So we talked to the sheriff, the Cumberland Narcan Day, I talked to someone with Cumberland and Sigma Sash, and then we do a football game about once, well, football just, I guess it just started, I don't film those. We did suicide prevention, the rural voices of Wilson County, and then some adoption segments. So that's about how much new content I can do in a month.
I think most schools film their football games.
Yes, they do
Yeah.
now.
And I remember, I went to some, not in this county, but they had things flying over, filming the game. On those little-
Oh, yeah, they got drones.
Yeah, they got their
they're
own
high-tech.
filming the games. So, and I'm sure that would be available if you needed content.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So, yeah, this here was for the month, and then we had the 10 meeting days, and that's
Gotcha.
like my limit of,
Okay.
I can
Okay.
change what I cover,
So, okay.
I
but
think your
that's.
priority
you know,
should be the meetings, wise.
Yeah,
Meetings are
they
priority.
are, and then when I have time, this is what I'm able to do.
Yeah.
How many times do you re-air, say this meeting right now, how many times will you re-air this before the next month?
I will air it usually once a day. The commission meetings, I don't re-air those as much, but we also do the Watertown meetings. So in a month, I may have 20 hours of meetings that I'm airing, and they usually air, they don't air every day, but generally every other day. So some days I'll be really meeting heavy, and then the next day will be content heavy, and then meeting heavy and content heavy.
Okay.
So I can air the meetings more, I can do more blocks of it, but then you've got meetings that I'm not sure that people, no offense, that people wanna sit in.
Well, that's exactly
Oh, I
what
agree.
Right, we're not supposed to do it sometimes.
Yeah.
So this meeting, for example, you might air it one time, tomorrow, the next day, or next week, but you might not ever air this one again. But say, for example, animal control, they have a standing, it's a standing committee. You air that a couple of times after the meeting, but then the very next week you have a new animal control meeting, so anything beyond that, you wouldn't air that again, right? Because that's
Right.
new content,
Right,
new meeting.
right, but if there's only one animal control meeting in that month,
Mhm.
that meeting will air periodically through the month.
And that's good though, because you
Yeah.
could confuse people, and people could be calling you about something that happened already
Now,
decided.
are they
Finished.
dated? They're
Fixed the
dated.
next month.
Are they dated? They're dated, right? I mean,
Yeah.
That's what, that's what I've seen. but-
It'll say the date on there on
Meeting
the,
on this date. Well,
yeah, it'll have the date on there.
Okay.
But the meeting for that month will re-air up until the next animal control. So
Okay.
I'll go in this week, take off the old animal control meeting and
And put
replace
in the
it
new one.
with the new one, but I'll need to change the time slot a
Right.
little bit because that meeting lasted 30 minutes as opposed to whatever it lasted
Okay.
last month.
And all of these meetings are archived on the YouTube channel, correct?
They are all archived.
I mean, something even like this, I'd probably air it once and then would never air it again if you're trying to free up having to have a whole, 6 hours worth of meetings in one time.
Okay.
Now, that leads us to the next thing, archiving meeting recordings. Is that what you do? Do you keep,
So I record all the meetings and they're on my computer where I edit them and post them. I post them to YouTube and they're on YouTube. Every meeting is on YouTube and they're in chronological order. And then we archive it in a backup
back up?
where
this?
all of, like, it's a huge drive and we
Okay.
have all the meetings
You
saved
date
on
it
that.
backwards, is that kinda how you do it? You just date it backwards?
Yeah,
Date it
yeah,
backwards.
so the most recent meeting goes on there and it is according to the date that the meeting was filmed.
Is it easy to recall any of them? Or
If you know the date, it's
the
easy to
date,
recall.
the date is what you're looking at?
Yeah,
That's
so
the key, right? The-
you have to have the date. If you don't
Okay.
know what date the meeting is, then you have to do a search and it gets complicated.
Yeah,
And
okay.
if you wanna know when they discussed this property in this planning meeting, no.
Can't do
You can't do that.
There's
You
no
have
search
to-
on keywords or anything?
Right, there's nothing like that. You have to know the date that the planning meeting was. You have to pull it up and then scroll through and find the part of it that you want.
Okay, gotcha.
I think what you could do to solve some of that is that, and maybe you could make an instructional video as you're looking for content ideas, where you could actually go through the website and show as to, okay, so here's where the agendas are. So say you're looking for a certain BOZA case. So you go in and you're like, okay, so here's the agendas for BOZA, and you can open the, the BOZA agenda, and then you find the case that gives you the date. Then you jump over to YouTube and you find, the BOZA meeting for that date, and you can, pull it from there, and you can kind of figure out based on where it was in the agenda, how far you need to jump forward to find the BOZA case.
It can get quite
That's how-
complicated.
No.
You can
but
get very,
that's-
well, you could
Right,
almost have
that's-
a person do that endlessly now.
Yeah,
that
you could.
Well, this kinda goes into what, a lot of you don't know, but I had met with Christie and Aaron about trying to archive this stuff, because the more content we're creating a haystack,
Yeah,
and needles are getting harder and harder to find, and we don't have, any real way of doing it. Commissioner Breeze has archived or has found scanning all the way back to 1965, but they're full packs, okay?
1928.
but
She's done
Diane,
more.
Diane Weathers.
Okay, I
probably
stand
knows
corrected.
She's got
But
it.
even those are,
Diane's right.
they're haystacks. I mean, how do you find your needle? If you're looking for your resolution or you're looking for your content, it's still very difficult. And so what IT was going to come in here and maybe they can soon, try to figure out maybe using AI, maybe using some kind of program that can be word sensitive.
Well, there are
phonetic
programs
sensitive.
out there that do this stuff, but they have to be, all the minutes have to be fed in.
But to create manual links for her,
Yeah, that's
between
what I mean.
videos
Yeah.
and minutes,
That
Yeah.
School board meetings,
agendas.
Yeah, it's,
the school board already has that going for them.
do they?
You can click on the school board agenda and then click on the agenda item, and it'll take you to that moment in the video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
it's computer software.
See, and that may be where we need to go to see how we wanna do it.
I don't know who.
Or
runs
other
it.
counties as well,
I don't know either.
because other counties may or may not be ahead of us, but they do things differently. And maybe we can, I mean, I was in the computer business for a long time, and I had to do this kind of stuff in the Pentagon for budget issues and stuff, and I was there 3 years, but we had special programs to do it all. And we wrote little recall subroutines, and it'd give me a report based on what I was asking for. And so they're out there.
Yeah, and that's what Aaron was looking into,
Yeah.
but that's out of my knowledge base. We
Oh,
just
I know.
upload, yeah, that's.
I understand, that's not,
Well, we may be folding this in, and any suggestions this board has, any ideas you guys have, because really and truly, the best way we can put this all together someday is to be able to cross-reference everything, any way we can look for it. I'll tell you, I got penalized volunteering to read all all the resolutions and ordinances when I was hired in Mount Juliet, and I didn't do my homework assignment. My boss discovered that by asking me a few simple questions. So he made me go out and buy a Fujitsu scanner and scan all of them and make them word searchable. And so that's what I did for the next 4 months, because I didn't spend, so I didn't do my homework. And so we kind of got that. We're so close to having our resolutions and our minutes going back.
We are, what we have right now is we have all of the minute, well, okay. So the archives is a great tool, so if you ever get a chance, go visit Linda at the archives.
Yeah.
But what she has is the paper minute books, so, and that's the official record of this county and county commission. So it's basically our packets plus anything that's on desks, it's all put together in one book. The hard part about it is that they're physical books.
Yep.
So if, again, you get to the point where you're like, if I don't have a date, then I have a way to start anything. So what we ended up doing, and it went through county commission a year ago, I guess.
Yep.
And Linda already has a gentleman who comes every year and digitizes to be able to put it on microfilm, because that's how it's supposed to be, is a permanent record, and then that microfilm is kept in archives, but it's also sent to the state archives as well to be a permanent record. The gentleman then converted those to PDF, at which point I converted them to OCR files, so it actually does read through everything, which is why I have access back to 1928. And then I built an indexed file, so I can search based on a word. So like I can type in insurance as an example, and it will pull up every instance of insurance back to 1928. Exactly.
Another haystack.
Right, but it's shortcuts,
Yeah.
you know, where we were before, where before it was, if I had to do research for something, it was like, okay, who do I know who was around in the county in the mid-90s who might remember this
Mike
particular instance?
Mike.
Right, yes, oh yeah,
You should see his file rooms.
yeah, but then you're trying to, you know, like, okay, so when do you think this happened, basically? But that's how you have to start this process. And then you just start reading minutes. And this is what Linda's done for years, so we really are light years from where we were a year ago. But yes, but it can kind of go, you know, forward from there. The hard part about trying to put something like that out for public consumption is that there's, like, I have to double check that the resolution that I find actually passed. And the way to do that is you would literally have to read the minutes for the, you know, that were passed the following month to make sure, because it doesn't always say on that piece of paper, in that, you know, in that book right there, that this passed or failed. Some of them are just in
Aren't they
there.
supposed to
Again,
be
'cause we're talking
signed
about
also
100 years
passed?
of information,
Supposed to be
right?
signed?
They are, but
So,
yeah,
I mean,
the problem is,
Yeah.
most of them
They're
are
not in-
scanned before the meetings, and so
Yeah.
let's say they're amended.
yeah,
And then the amendment wasn't scanned because it has to be done again
Yeah.
after the fact.
So we don't
there's-
have the
Yes.
actual signed resolution. Once it's passed, it's gotta be signed. We don't have those.
well,
Are they in the records?
they're officially, I mean, they're, some of them actually have like the count, like the vote count, it depends on when it was, when you're
Yeah.
looking backwards, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
some
because
of
you're
it
being, you're talking about like all the way back to 1928 when we had a quarterly court, and you can imagine, I mean, that was, those minutes were in, I mean, they're in script.
Yeah.
So,
That's
you
right.
know, okay, so really to be able to do something to be a searchable database, we almost need an additional person, if you really wanna do this, to literally go through all of this and pull all the resolutions that actually passed. And then you have to build a database from there. So we're talking about more manpower. And if you wanna turn around and take that database and tie it back to the video, you know, it's doable.
It's doable.
It's doable, but we're talking about a giant project that would need a lot more man hours than what Christie has available, or IT has available, or so on.
What you're talking about is a contract company coming and do it. Is that,
Potentially either
That-
that or
that's it,
some
that's what it
1099
is.
contractors
contract
to come
somebody
in that
come
work
and do it, 'cause
hourly
our
to,
workers are working normal stuff. You don't have time to do that
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah, so you, but that's where you could go. So again, that's what's possible, depending upon how much we wanna spend, you know,
Yeah.
and so on, so. But trying to figure out systems so we can start now, so you don't have to continue to do this, that's the hard part, I think that's where Bobby's going.
Currently,
Is
if
that
you
right?
wanna amend something, if you wanna do something new in this county, the first thing that Mike should do, and he does a real good job of it, is he tries to figure out if we've ever done anything on that subject before. So we're using him. I mean, he's doing what we're doing in a way. So, because you should go back to that resolution and amend it, or kill it, right? You should
Yeah.
vote it down or amend it into what you wanna do if one exists. We're not doing that. There's probably, if you go back and you look back to 1928 on one subject, there could be a dozen different resolutions out there, and they all say something different. And which one are we supposed to go by?
Yeah.
Which ones are the citizens supposed to go by?
Yeah.
And so that's a
Many of them,
problem,
like you said, are contradictory too.
very contradictory.
I mean, I can give you one
Problem.
example, I won't during the meeting.
So right now, she's got it down to where if you can get it within a couple of years, she can find it. If you get it within 5 years and she's got an hour, she can find it. But wouldn't it be nice if you just had a word and you went to the right database, you hit your word,
You
and
see,
you brought up 10.
resolutions
Yeah.
concerning
I can pull 'em-
insurance.
I can pull it by word now,
Because there's a lot of insurance
but you
resolutions.
still have to read.
Well, this meeting was mainly informational to get everybody thinking about this. This is a humongous project. It's important, it's not urgent. I mean, 1928 's a long time ago, we hadn't done it, but I mean, I think with all the content she's developing, all the content we keep developing, we're kind of making it worse for ourselves. It's harder to find this stuff now than it's ever been because we're making more of it.
Well, I have a question, when you do the minutes, you type them?
Mhm.
And
Yes,
you
sir.
put them online, or you put them on the computer? Do they have a database they go to or anything?
They are just on my computer in a backup server, and
That's
then
what I
of
mean.
course, once they're approved by the commission, they go into the packet, and that's what makes them official.
Right, that goes official, but we don't have any database that holds, we don't have a database. In order to have this access capability, you gotta have a database with all the stuff in it. And you gotta have it organized in such a way, for example, if you have insurance resolutions, it's gotta be in a section of the database, insurance resolution, and it's gotta be typed in or scanned in or something, but in order to access it by a word or by, say, resolutions insurance, it's gotta be in a database. And it's
Right.
gotta be organized in such a way that you can access it.
Right, and my computer is that way, but of course, it's just my records, it's not
Yeah.
an official database or anything like that. And that's what we're looking for, something that
Right.
the public can go to and search,
Yeah.
but I just don't.
Just like our budget, when we had it online, you could go there and you could access different areas of the budget. To see, even though they may or may not be true anymore, based on the resolutions that changed. But still,
Pretty good.
it's
We've come a
there.
long way.
It is a database.
Well, I think we all need to think about this. The reason Mike wanted this committee to take up the archiving, both IT and video, is because it is technology-based. And I don't know that there's another committee, just from lack of other committees, for thinking about this.
Yeah, unless you wanna pull in public records.
Yeah. And public records is kind of it's
Right.
kind of a whole different thing.
It kinda is, you're right, so, yeah, it's not a true county commission.
I think
piece, so-
maybe a start
Yes.
would be design a structure of a database. General structure of a database.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we go all sleep a few times and bring back some suggestions on how to do this? Is it, because this is this is complicated. Do we want to pare it down to minutes and resolutions? A lot of cities do that. Do we need to pare it down by committees? Do we need to how do we subdivide it? That's a question, and I don't know the answer to that. I can make a case for several different ways to do it. But-
You could almost divide it by the committees, say budget committee, finance committee.
I
and
could
you-
make a case
and
for
you
that.
could- And you could just label each one a committee, then under that committee, you could have minutes, resolutions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
But then you run into the problem of your budget resolutions are gonna be under
Right.
two committees.
Right.
Well,
You're
that's
gonna have your
okay,
budget
that's-
resolution and then whatever committee it was passed out of.
Well, maybe we don't, that's okay, that wouldn't be a problem, because if we got the budget,
You can make all budget resolutions come out of the budget committee.
yeah,
Yes.
that's what I mean, anything that came out of budget, the resolutions would be there.
I think the only resolutions, I think you archive all the resolutions under what's passed in that month,
Yes.
because if you go back 10 years from now and look at this meeting, the only thing you need to know from this meeting is the minutes, what we discussed in it. We didn't pass anything tonight.
No.
Right.
But if there was something, if she had a budget
Right.
amendment or something, that's in the minutes, we discussed it. It's not gonna pass until the county commission. That would just be a passed resolution at that point.
See, that's okay too, because
I
you
think
can
that's
just
a-
use the resolutions that passed,
Well,
but the thing is, they're supposed to go through a committee.
That's how it's being
Yeah.
done
So
now,
it's all
actually.
committee.
and that
It
heads
is.
out the issue where you, and this is one of my concerns about trying to put like some type of public database on the website or anything, is because, and I'll give you an example. So in the late 90s, this county passed a wheel tax, and it was by voters, okay? 6 months later, a county commissioner introduced, and that money was specifically, I think, for debt service. So it was actually designated by a public vote to debt service. 6 months later, a county commissioner came in and introduced a resolution that she wanted to redirect all that money to volunteer firefighters. Which you can't do, obviously, because it was already decided by voters, but that resolution is there in the packet. And if I, go through my database and search volunteer firefighters, that resolution's gonna come up. And the only reason why I knew it didn't pass is I had to read the minutes for the month afterwards to make sure that it really didn't pass. Now, again, I know I have to do this. Somebody sitting at home on their computer isn't necessarily gonna know that that's what they need to do. So there's my concern
Well, that
about
was-
just throwing
that was exactly
that out. Right, yes.
What I was getting at, because if she had a budget amendment tonight, and we put that in there, and it didn't pass.
Right.
then
So we don't care
you're
about it.
jumbling everything up.
We don't care.
Programs in place to do what y'all want
There,
to do.
there's gotta be something
I think you
created.
need to reach out to CTAS, get all their IT development. Whoever wants to reach out to them, get hold of CTAS, pull in the experts at this level, and then we'll coach you through everything you guys are wanting to do. There's just, we're not reinventing the wheel, it's already there.
Well,
Yeah.
Somebody's already doing this.
I think you're right.
So do we really just wanna just have a database of just past resolutions?
no, I think minutes,
Okay,
resolutions that passed,
okay,
based on the committee where it originated.
okay,
The original, you put committee, say you put judicial.
right.
You can say past resolutions and minutes. And you don't have those, maybe you don't have them in the database, but you have pointers to where they are in another
Cause
database.
I know at the state level, which is much larger, but you can go and look for bills
Exactly.
that are going through the legislature
Mhm.
that you can see where it's at, whether it's in a committee still, or whether it's been passed and waiting on the governor's signature, or whether it's now law. So I don't know if there's some way to.
Or summer study.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think they.
Yeah, but that's easy to do in a
Just
data,
like a
that's
whole
easy to do in a
stack.
database.
But
You just have
Yeah.
like switches on and off switches.
Yeah,
And you have labels,
yeah,
say step 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4,
yeah.
and you say, you turn it on if it's done. If it's law, you turn the law on, and you know that's done, and it passed.
I just think the best way is to stick to minutes and resolutions, that's it, because anything else, any sort of informational packets that are given out, anything like that, and you're running into this, you just said it, they're in there, they're in a book,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
well, that just jumbles
Yeah.
everything up. That's the history, that's historical.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
getting saved somewhere, but very few people are researching what kind of information is given out about,
Don't care about
about.
informational
Well,
package.
Well, what I'm
I've had
thinking
issues.
is starting now.
Yeah, I've had other issues where it mentions in the minutes that such and such committee discussed that the handout that was passed out.
Mhm.
And then they passed the handout. But the handout's not included anywhere.
See,
And
that's,
I've had
that's
that
an
a couple of
issue.
different times.
Because
And-
sometimes with
the
that, it
handouts
might
are-
go put them in a package.
Well, the handouts are really important. I mean, this is like 20 and 30 years ago. So, I mean, so we're talking about a long time ago. But still, I mean, like, these were documents that, I mean, like, this references to, okay, well, look at page 5 that has a complete budget for this project. Okay, that would be great to have that information. But it's not there.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing, based on our historical records. Now, I mean, what you could easily do, again, this would take some manpower, and we'd probably have to bring in a contractor. But we do have the minute books that are PDFs already OCR'd, and you could have somebody go through and cut apart the PDFs and actually create, here's resolution, 25/9/17 and label it such with, animal control or whatever. And you can create that database. And you can build, Adobe will do it for you. It will build you a search engine based on your file set. And so you could do that and actually go through and make sure that everything is, passed. Whereas what we have now, like I said, is just everything. But you bring somebody in to make sure that things like this resolution about volunteer firefighters is not included in our data set. So, but again, it would take people.
Why don't we all think about this?
Okay.
Call another meeting and, again, important, not urgent, but we do need to think about this because we're creating so much information and she's creating reams of it, gigabytes of it. And we're gonna lose it if we can't find it. We can't put something together to find it. Is there any old business coming forth?
The Tigers won today 2-1.
That's all. New
It's
business.
over.
One more motion.
Motion to adjourn.